All right, next it's my pleasure to introduce one of the great leaders in the environmental movement, Phil Radford, who is the Executive Director of Greenpeace USA.
Good morning. It's good to see in the crowd my brothers and sisters from CWA. Good to see PFA out there. CWA won. It's a shame. There we go. Thank you, Marge. All right. Well, my name is Phil Radford. I'm the Executive Director of Greenpeace in the U.S. And it is great to be out here today with you, standing up and fighting for our democracy together. You know, we're here today because Sean McCutcheon is not happy with the amount that he has been able to buy our politicians. Sean McCutcheon gave so much money in the last few election cycles that he gave more money than the average American family makes in a year. He gave so much money that he is in the 1% of 1% of 1% of the political elite who have maxed out the total amount that they can legally give to politics in this country. And he wasn't happy with that. When he reached the legal limit, guess what he did? McCutcheon broke the law. He broke the law. He kept donating more money to more politicians so he can continue to push his dirty energy, coal, anti-democracy agenda. Let's be clear, McCutcheon's attack on our democracy is 100% linked to his attack on our environment. McCutcheon is a CEO of a coal company. He is a global warming denier, and he is from Alabama, where he runs a coal company that has been fighting clean air standards across our country. He's a player in the fossil fuel-fueled, Koch brothers-backed campaign to take over our democracy using big money and bigotry to take power away from the people in our country. The bigotry that they're using is voter suppression. And when Justices Alito and Justices Thomas are going to the Koch brothers retreats and afterwards coming back to this very building and gutting the Voting Rights Act and rolling back decades of people's rights and civil rights in this country, that is part of their agenda. And the other half of their agenda is to use big money to drown out people's voices and voters' voices. The reason they do that is obvious. We know it. If every American citizen votes, if every American citizen has the right to vote, the Koch brothers and McCutcheon know their anti-government, anti-environment, anti-middle class, anti-democracy agenda will fail. They know it will fail. You know, while they're spending their millions of dollars, it is no surprise that this Congress voted over 300 times to gut America's environmental laws. 300 times. We're here today because we need to send a clear message to people like McCutcheon. We need to send a clear message to the Supreme Court that we will not sit by while the dream of American democracy is torn up at the feet of Justice Roberts and his Supreme Court. And we're here to tell the Supreme Court that America's democracy is not for sale. Thank you.
And now, all you CWAers in the audience here in the room, okay, let me introduce somebody who needs no introduction, Larry Cohen, President of the Communications Workers of America.
Thanks, Marge. So, today we're on defense. We're getting tired of defense. We're getting tired of holding on like we're on the edge of a cliff to what we've had for decades. Whether it's aggregate limits on contained financing, I had to learn that, or whether it's rights at work, or whether it's voting rights, as this court stripped our voting rights in Shelby County. We're tired of being on defense. It doesn't mean we won't stand up and fight back when we're under attack. Doesn't mean we won't keep playing defense. But imagine if all these organizations are working together on offense. Well, we are. And we came together and formed the Democracy Initiative, where all of us here work together. Our membership together is more than 20 million. And the question for all of us is, can we make democracy the second most important issue we work on. Because each of us, or many of us, first work on the environment, like Phil.
That's right.
Or we work on economic justice, like CWAers trying to defend their standard of living against brutal corporate attacks, or organizing workers up against even worse attacks. But for each of those groups, as well as the democracy groups that lead this effort, who do work on democracy as their first issue, we need to at least connect the dots so that all of our members understand this is either the most important issue or the second. It's not just McCutcheon. It's, as we heard, voting rights. It's voters in, money out. Voters in, money out. Voters in, money out. And not just on these issues, but this court and its predecessors confused free speech when it came to workers' rights 70 years ago, when this became the only democracy in the world to say that employers can run orchestrated campaigns against their own workers under the banner of free speech. And we say here today, that's called union busting. Free speech does not mean that employers can tell every supervisor exactly what to say, and that's what they do, and to fire workers who stand up and fight back, and that's what they do, and to ruin the careers of people that stand up for workers' rights, and that's what they do. And importantly today, we say clearly, free speech is not equal to money. And that's what every speaker here said before me. And so, we're here today on defense, but whether in North Carolina or anywhere else in this nation, this group united is also on offense. We know what democracy looks like, and we will fight to have a 21st century democracy in terms of our voting rights, in terms of stopping the obscene spending by the richest billionaires in the world, and also at work, so that workers again have rights in this oldest democracy in the world. And so, what do we do when we're under attack? We stand up, we fight back. What do we do when we're under attack? We stand up, we fight back. We stand up, we fight back. Thank you.
Thank you. And pretty soon we're going to hear from Senator Sanders, who's in the courtroom and should be out soon, so stay tight. But we have a special gift from Yara Allen again. Please join us.
How are you? Good to see you. I saw you yesterday. I didn't want to yell.
Yeah. Okay, once again, I'm going to need your voices with me on this, okay? You ready? We shall not be moved. We